Oi girls and boys and everything in between, it's Ace Trainer Lee and back with another episode of MetroMania. MetroMania, if you don't already know, is a 16 Pokémon Metronome Battle tournament that we're holding on this channel just for a little bit of fun. The series consists of these 16 Pokémon battling it out in Double Metronome Battles, and we use a best of 3 format to determine a kind of fair winner, as fair as you can be with the Metronome really. And ultimately, whoever wins each heat will go on to the quarterfinals until we eventually get to the semis and the final and crown our first ever MetroMania Champion. If you're a fan of MetroMania already and you're ready for more, hit the like button because it really helps me out. And of course, if you don't want to miss an episode, make sure you subscribe with notifications on. But before we get into the battles, let's take a look at the brackets so far. So as you can see, last week we lost Alakazam. Unfortunately, Clefable was just too much for it. In that battle, Alakazam did lose the first round to Clefable, managed to claw things back in the second round in quite impressive fashion, but again in the third round Clefable was just too much for it, and unfortunately Alakazam did succumb to Clefable and have to leave the competition, leaving Clefable with that coveted spot in the quarter-final round. It's going to be interesting to see which of today's contestants becomes the opponent for Clefable in that future battle. And as we can see, this week's competitors are Snorlax and Dusknoir. Let's jump straight into the battle. Here we go, it's Dusknoir versus Snorlax, Heat 2 of the MetroMania tournament, this ongoing Pokemon Metronome Battle tournament. The first battle, Clefable versus Alakazam, was incredibly exciting, and I imagine this battle against these two big bruisers is going to be no less exciting. Here we see Dusknoir starting off. It does have the speed advantage, going for a super effective vacuum wave right off the bat there, doing a little bit of damage, but Snorlax is a bulky boy, isn't going to go down without a fight, certainly. Sacred Sword from the shiny Dusknoir, that's going to do an incredible amount of damage. Almost half of regular Snorlax's HP has gone already from that Sacred Sword. We see Glaciate coming out from shiny Snorlax onto both forms of Dusknoir there. Little bit of chip damage, but also a speed drop, which I believe will give Snorlax the speed advantage in this battle. That was a good move from shiny Snorlax. We see a Boom Burst. It's not going to affect any of the Dusknoir, but it is going to damage Snorlax's partner with a stab move. That's not a very good idea. The Snorlax team, I thought they were off to a good start. Maybe they're not off to the best of starts, but surely they can bring it back. Soak is a brilliant strategy because not a lot of moves, a lot of Metronome moves bring either fighting or normal, which don't affect Dusknoir. So changing Dusknoir to a water type means that Snorlax no longer has that disadvantage against that one Dusknoir. With that Bug Bite, it would have normally been resisted by a Ghost type, but it's not resisted by a Water type. The Bubble comes out from the shiny Dusknoir and does a little bit of damage to each of the Snorlaxes there. We see Focus Energy from regular Dusknoir. It wants to gain critical hits. It wants to take its opponent down before they can take advantage of the type change that they have instilled on that Dusknoir. This is brilliant stuff. We see Retaliate, but it doesn't affect the shiny Dusknoir. If you'd used it on the regular Dusknoir, it would have hit this time. We see Cross Poison coming out. It is resisted and no poison inflicted on that Dusknoir. Here we see regular Dusknoir. What's it going to do? I ought to call it the water type Dusknoir now, as it goes for Tailwind to regain that speed advantage for a few turns there. What's its shiny counterpart going to do? One can only dream. Another Boom Burst coming out. This is going to hit everybody on the field because remember that Dusknoir teammate is a water type at this point. So everybody gets hit a little bit there with that Boom Burst. That was a great turn. We see a Bite coming out. This Snorlax could be made to flinch on this turn. What's going to happen? Snorlax really can't do with a flinch at this point. Rapid Spin, though, only going to do a tiny bit of chip damage, but it's still not looking good for Snorlax at this point. Snorlax needs to pull something out. This team really needs to... Splash is not what it needed to pull out. Oh, my goodness. Snorlax, what are you doing? Okay, now you're going to give them... Okay, now it's giving Dusknoir its ability, which its primary ability, so its immunity. So now that Dusknoir can't be poisoned. That could have been a saving grace for Snorlax, but I suppose at least pressure is not doubly in effect at this point. What's going to happen? We see Cross Chop. That's super effective. Is that enough? It takes down regular Snorlax. There is only shiny Snorlax left in this first round. My goodness, what's going to happen? Can this Snorlax claw back this victory? Natural Gift will fail. Is that the opening that shiny Snorlax needs? What's going to happen? Revenge doesn't affect... Stop going for the shiny Dusknoir with the fighting type moves. It's not going to work. You need to go for the regular Dusknoir because it is no longer immune. Octozooka coming out. Is it going to lower Snorlax's accuracy? No, Snorlax gets lucky there. What does regular Dusknoir have in mind? Fire Blast. That's going to do, I imagine, a decent amount of damage. Doesn't quite finish Snorlax off, though. Is a critical hit. What is Snorlax going to do? It needs to rest. Giga Impact's not going to hit the shiny Dusknoir. The Tailwind's gone. So Snorlax is back to having the speed advantage at least. It needs to rest. It needs to synthesis. It's Hydro Cannoning. I mean, that could do significant damage, I guess. Almost brings shiny Dusknoir to under half HP. I'm really worried for Snorlax right now. Here's a Freeze Dry. Is that going to be it? It's not enough to take it down. Snorlax still has an opportunity depending on what this Dusknoir comes out. Payback, round 1 goes to Dusknoir. That was insane. Snorlax really needs to claw it back in battle number 2. And here we go. What is Snorlax's answer going to be to Dusknoir at this point? Snorlax is trailing behind, needs this victory. Dusknoir can fail this battle if it needs to and still come out with a win if it goes to round 3. But Snorlax, it's make or break at this point. They need a much better performance than they had in the first round because really, they let their guard down. But Dusknoir opens with a cross chop. Oh my god. Taking almost half of regular Snorlax's HP on the first turn again. This is reminiscent of the battle that just happened. Snorlax is too heavy for Skydrop, which is really lucky for this team at this point. My word, Hyper Fang doesn't affect Dusknoir. Remember, both Dusknoir forms are now back to being Ghost type. There's no Soak in effect at this point. We see a Fire Blast coming from Snorlax onto Dusknoir. Does a fair amount of damage, I'd say an 8th, maybe a 6th. Here we see shiny Dusknoir. What's it got in store? It's going to go for Bite again. It wants to make Snorlax flinch. It wants that shiny Snorlax to flinch. Here we see Metronome, of course it's Metronome. It's a Metronome Battle, Liam. Fury Cutter coming out from regular Dusknoir, just taking more HP off that regular Snorlax. Shiny Snorlax answers back with a Fusion Bolt. That's going to hopefully do some impressive damage. Really needs to take down one of these Dusknoir at this point. It's decent. I'd say it's about a quarter of shiny Dusknoir's HP. We need more offensive moves like that if Snorlax is going to survive. Shadow Bone is going to be super effective. That physical attack bringing shiny Dusknoir into the red. This could be where Snorlax turns it round. That is an impressive move. Shades of Alolan Marowak there. We see the growth coming out from shiny Dusknoir, who raises its attack and special attack. That is a little bit on the worrying side. And here comes regular Dusknoir with baby doll eyes. Gonna drop some stats right there. I believe it's attack. Yes, it is. Drop Snorlax attack there on the shiny Snorlax. Here comes regular Snorlax in response with a Comet Punch, which won't affect the Ghost types. Ghost types are really seeming to have an advantage in this Metronome battle. It's going to be interesting to see how they fare. Electric Terrain comes into effect thanks to shiny Snorlax. What effect's that going to have later in the battle? I have no idea. Could have used that before Fusion Bolt, and that would have been a helpful idea. Here's regular Dusknoir coming out with Moonlight, going to restore its HP. I believe it's close to maximum though. Yeah, it's close to maximum, so it's just going to go right back to maximum HP. Lucky old Dusknoir there. Here's the shiny Ghost type Dusknoir going for Lunge, that beautiful bug type move, which I believe will drop the attack even further of this shiny Snorlax that originally got hit by Baby Doll Eyes, so it's now at -2 attack. We see Bulk Up coming from regular Snorlax, who's going to raise its attack and special attack, so at least that has some kind of offensive advantage. Sorry, not special attack, defense. Attack and defense is Bulk Up. Here we go with Freeze Dry coming out from shiny Snorlax. Is it going to do much? Does barely anything to that Dusknoir. What is the Dusknoir team going to do? I mean, they are kind of on the ropes in terms of the shiny side. Baton Pass is going to fail. That's a bit of a mistake there. What's shiny Dusknoir going to do? Because it is on the lower side of its HP. I'm going to turn off Tinder because that is very, very unprofessional. Here comes shiny Snorlax with a Heart Stamp. Is it going to do much? It's just chip damage at this point. Shiny Snorlax really doesn't have an offensive advantage in this battle. It's really a disadvantage. Aqua Jet comes out from regular Snorlax. Going to do a little bit of damage to regular Dusknoir, who is in the driver's seat in this battle at the moment. Here comes shiny Dusknoir with Torment, which means that shiny Snorlax can use a move this turn with Metronome, but the next turn it will struggle. And the turn after that it can Metronome, and the turn after that it will struggle. Poison gas will not affect Snorlax because of immunity, so both Snorlaxes got really, really lucky there that they didn't get poisoned by that poison gas. Here comes regular Snorlax with Grass Knot. Is it going to be enough? I mean, I don't think Dusknoir is that heavy, is it? Decent amount of damage, bringing that other Dusknoir into the yellow area, the warning, the caution area of its HP. Power Trip is going to be super effective. Not going to do a lot of damage, though, to regular Dusknoir there. Although the Dusknoir team, they are backed against the wall right now. I'm not going to pretend that the Snorlax team doesn't have an advantage. Here's a Sludge Bomb onto Shiny Snorlax, bringing that down into the yellow as well. How will the shiny Dusknoir follow that up? Needle Arm, okay, onto regular Snorlax, bringing it closer and closer to the red. There's that struggle we were talking about. Little bit of damage to Dusknoir, a lot of recoil damage, 25% of its HP, I believe, onto shiny Snorlax there. The electric terrain has disappeared. Dusknoir, what have you got in store for these Snorlax right now? You've got Heat Wave. One of the Snorlax avoided it. Which one's going to get hit by it? It's regular Snorlax as it goes down into the red. Nobody gets burned by that Heat Wave, though. Here comes shiny Dusknoir with a Fire Blast. Will that burn anybody? No, but it will KO regular Snorlax. It's all down to a shiny Snorlax with -2 attack. What's it going to do to finish off these Dusknoir? It's going to go for Cut, which does not affect Ghost types. But it isn't over for this Snorlax yet. It could claw things back. It really could. We see Hold Back coming out, which will bring Snorlax down to 17 HP. Would have brought it down to 1 HP at the maximum. We see Aqua Ring coming out. This regular Dusknoir is basically saying, you will not damage me because I will heal myself each move. Snorlax is going to struggle. That's going to knock itself out. It loses to a struggle. It's 2-0 for Dusknoir. So here is your winner. The Dusknoir team has just absolutely dominated. Well done to that Ghost type team. Wow. So that was absolutely intense. Dusknoir really knew what it was doing, really didn't give Snorlax a chance. I mean, one of the difficulties with the Metronome, and I think that is going to give Ghost types an advantage as we go forward, is that quite often it will select a normal type or a fighting type attack, and that really played out well for Dusknoir because, of course, it's immune as a Ghost type to both those types of moves. So Snorlax couldn't use any stab moves. It really had to try and figure out a strategy that really didn't happen, and of course, the Soak strategy would have worked if Snorlax would have taken advantage of it. It was just really unfortunate. I honestly thought, out of all the Pokemon that we have there, that Snorlax had one of the best chances of making it much further, at least into the semi-finals. But what can we say? Dusknoir was dominant. It really was. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Our first quarter-final is set for once we've got through the heats, which will be Clefable versus Dusknoir. So we've got that to look forward to. But we've got plenty more battles to come in the MetroMania series. I'm really, really enjoying this. If you're enjoying it as well, hit the like button. If you want to make sure you don't miss an episode of this, hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell, and maybe YouTube will tell you my videos are there. I have no idea. But until next time, I'm Ace Trainer Liam. Keep on training.